Hello everyone, welcome to this new topic that is nothing but static pod. So in this session we will be learning what exactly static pod is and how to create it and how to figure it out it is a static pod or a normal pod. So all those things definitely we will see it. Okay. Before learning the static pod, I just wanted to show you something over here. We have this four namespaces and this come by default whenever you are going to create a Kubernetes cluster. And all the configuration related pods are present under the kube system namespace. So that's why this is very much important to understand which all things are present within it. So if I show you the pods which are running within this kube system namespace, is nothing but you can consider this etcd, then kube API server, controller, and then scheduler. Okay, what is the common between these four pods? Each and every pod cons is ending with hyphen k master. You can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these four pods are created on this master node. And what is the name of the master node? Is nothing but k master. If you see kubectl gate node, my node name is k master, and this is the one node Kubernetes cluster, and this is the master, and this is the worker you can consider. So that's where this will act as a both the things. So these pods are created over here and the name of the pods are ending with hyphen k master. So you can figure it out if any pod ending with some worker node name, okay? Either it be a master node or a worker node. That pod we can call it as a static pod, okay? And how it got created and from where it got created, all those things definitely we will look into it, okay? But just to let you know, only one thing, by looking into the name of that pod, we can figure it out. It is a master node or a worker node. Because if you try to create a pod normally with this command, you can see the name of the pod is P1 only. It is not ending with anything. So it is nothing but a normal pod. Okay. And this normal pod is controlled by the master node components like Kube API server and rest of the components. But the static pod is not controlled by the Ku- Kube API server or any other components from the master node. Static pods are controlled by the kubelet on that worker node. When do we require static pod? It is mainly required in case if there is problem in the master node. What if your master node goes down? So all the components on that master node will not be in working condition. And if you try to create a pod with kubectl run command, as you know, kubectl run command will send request to the kube API server. But in this case, if master is down, then my kube API server will not be able to take that request, and that's where my pod will not get created. So how you will create a pod? Okay, so in that case, mass static pod comes into the picture, and that static pod directly we can go ahead and create on the worker node without any inform giving prior information to the API server. Okay, so in that case, there is one procedure that we need to follow. You just need to know at what location these files are present. Okay, I meant to say, like if I show you the pods, this etcd, then controller, API server, and scheduler, all these pods are created from a file. So there is one file which is placed at particular location, and because of that file, these pods are up and running. Okay, so how you are gonna find that file location? You just need to know the kubelet config file. For that matter, let's go ahead and let's check the kubelet process. Okay, so this is the kubelet process, and the config file of that kubelet is located over here where config kubelet config.yaml file. Okay, and if you open that file, you will see some static pod path, and this static pod path is nothing but etc Kubernetes manifest. Let's go to this path. and you will see these four files: etcd.yaml, kube API server YAML, controller, and scheduler. These four files are available over here. That's why pods are up and running. Okay, so all the components of the master node are nothing but static pod. Those are not normal pods. Okay, because in at initial level, when you install the APIs, when you install the Kubernetes cluster, that time these components were not available. Okay, so that's where Kubernetes cluster, whenever you are trying to create with kubeadm, these all four components will get created as a static pod, not as a normal pod. So we will try creating one pod for our sake as well, so that we will be able to understand and do the practical as well. So what I will do, I'll also create a pod file over here, and automatically pod should be up and running at our case. Okay. So let's generate the pod YAML file, kubectl run. Do we have any pod available over here? Let me check. Okay, let me delete this, and let's go ahead and create a pod. For that matter, you don't have to create a pod like with kubectl run command. You just need to place a YAML file at this location, and automatically pod will get created. Okay, so that is the main thing. So let's generate the YAML file for the pod. Hyphen try run equal to client is nothing but this execution is gonna happen on the client end. So in real time, this pod will not get created because we are just generating the output in the YAML format. Hyphen O is YAM output, and I want output in the YAML format. And let's copy this content, and let's create a YAML file. This name of the YAML file can be anything. Only extension must be YAML. Name can be anything. Okay. So I have just copy pasted the content, and I'm giving a name of the pod as P1, images nginx, all good. Let's save this file. Okay, so as soon as you create a file with pod.yaml, and within that I can see pod specification file is mentioned, so automatically it should create a pod for us. And now you can see this pod got created 14 seconds before, and the name of the pod is like p1-kmaster because this pod got created on the kmaster node, so that's where the name of the pod becomes p1-kmaster. The way Cube API server, scheduler, controller, etc. were having -kmaster at the end. Similarly, this P1 pod is also having -kmaster at the end, and that's how this pod name consists of. And this is how you can create a static pod just by placing the pod YAML file into this location. This location matters a lot. If you keep this YAML file at somewhere else, then definitely static pod will not get created. And I have already shared it with you how to figure it out this location. And what if this pod gets deleted? Okay, so let's delete this pod, and you can see our pod will get created one more time 8 seconds back. So if even though if you delete this pod, the pod will get created one more time. Why? Is it controller? No, because this pod is created by a kubelet. Okay, not it is not managed by any of the component from the master node. It is directly managed by the kubelet. So who is going to recreate this pod? That is nothing but this file. Okay, as long as this file is available at this location, this p1-k master pod will be up and running all the time. So what if you have to delete this pod p1-k master permanently? Okay, that time you just have to delete this YAML file. Okay, as soon as you delete this YAML file, pod p1-k master will get deleted automatically. So let me delete this pod YAML file, and you can see this got completed and it got deleted successfully. So we don't have any pod. So this is how we can create a static pod by placing a YAML file at this location, etc Kubernetes manifest, and this even though if you delete this pod, it will get recreated because till the time this YAML file is available with us, pod will get recreated every time. And if you want to delete that permanently, you have to delete the pod.yaml file and the pod related to that will get deleted automatically. So I hope you understood the difference between the normal pod and the static pod, when to use it, in which condition we have to go ahead with static pod, and how Kubernetes components are installed on the master node. So I hope you got each and every point which I have explained, and if you like the content which I'm sharing, feel free to subscribe to my channel and like, share as well. And one more thing, I have created one playlist related to the Kubernetes day by day, in which I have created Kubernetes related content from very scratch. So even though if you're a beginner, definitely you will be able to understand it very well. That is beginner to advanced level course. So you can please go through it. And if you have any doubt, feel free to comment in the comment box. Thank you so much for joining. Take care. Bye bye.